Reserve time.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Starladder I-League Star Series Season 3 American Qualifier. We are coming down to the wire as it is the second to last day of qualifier action here. By the end of tomorrow, we will know for sure and for certain what is going to be the one team to walk out on top and qualify for the Shanghai LAN. I'm Coddle Guy, also known as, of course, Dakota Cox. I'm going to be joined remotely by my good buddy Rhyme once again. Hi, Rhyme. How's it going? How you doing?
Hi. It's going
10
okay.
seconds
Now,
remaining.
Rhyme, you were playing some Dark Moon before this.
Yeah, we actually won.
5
You
seconds
you actually won
remaining.
the whole thing. You took down the Invoker.
Yeah, Invoker fell over. It was good.
Who's on your team?
Reserve time.
Cap, Merlini, and Merlini's friend. I can't remember his name.
Wow, what a stack! I'm happy for you.
And a random, actually, the cutest four. And just a random guy who picked Darkseer and did all the right things.
Well, good stuff. So I'm happy you are going to be starting off on a happy note. We did have a
And
little
then
bit
I
of a
used
delay.
2 treasures and got nothing.
2 treasures and got nothing. I haven't even seen what the Roshan Courier even looks like.
Yeah, I haven't seen one yet.
We'll have to see if our luck is going to change on that front. But today it's all about actual Dota 2, of course.
DC's
So
turn to
I know the draft
ban.
is just getting started here, but I want to quickly throw up the current standings, Rhyme, and you know, even in case if you're not aware, it's actually not really a big surprise to see that these 3 teams are kind of battling it out still for the top spot. MP, DC, and Complexity. All 3 of them are going to be playing today. And all the matches are like super important. They're going to have to 2-0 every single team along the way if they want to make sure they're in for the running. So not really any surprise as far as the teams that are here at the end, but now that we're coming down to like the last 2 days left, do you have any sort of early inkling to think what team might kind of will be able to pull ahead?
Remaining.
I think NP, to be honest. They look better, but
Reserve
DC...
time.
It's either NP or DC, I think. Like, Cole will have to kind of get lucky, otherwise it's not really going to work out.
And again, I don't really know like how even
I think they've
tiebreakers
got
are going to work.
Cole have a Dialcom and they have NP left, and they're probably gonna lose at least one game to NP. So yeah.
DC's turn
But
to
it's a
pick.
Slaughter.
It's
Slaughter
a slaughter.
man.
Yeah.
Fish man.
I mean, there's some
Man who
there-
stuns.
There's a bit of surprise here, though. I mean, where's our Underlord at? Been kind of glossed over
well,
on this one.
Some teams break Slaughter over that because, yeah, Underlord.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, he's good in lane, he's good in late game, he's good versus carries, he's good at defending, he's good at
5 seconds
split pushing, he's good
remaining.
at, well, pretty much everything, but Slaughter's just Slaughter. They could just go Rubik Underlord, or they could go
DC's turn to
Rubik
pick.
something else and just kind of leave Underlord there. But I don't... Yeah, I think maybe teams like everyone was like, oh my god, Underlord's the most broken thing ever, and then they went, actually, we can kill that hero, and then they went, okay, we like Ember Spirits and
Dire
Rubiks
team
more than we like Underlord, so yeah.
That's
I think
just how
DC...
Dota goes. That's just how it goes
Yeah.
sometimes. The wheel goes round and round. And,
Mhm.
yeah, people suddenly, like a recent emergence of like Timbersaw came into play to kind of shred it to Underlord, and then people went back to Magical Burst, and here we are again in
10
Ember and
seconds
Rubik
remaining.
world. And then, you know, suddenly someone like a
What?
Doom shows up out of the
DC's
blue,
turn
who
to
used to be
ban.
high in favor when, you know, the last time we saw Ember Spirit be a top pick. So the
Dire
cycle just
team
keeps
ban.
going here, Rhyme. Here we are, that Doom is back in the game again.
Alright, so one out of those 2 heroes is not going to have a fun early game. Now, Slardar is I don't know, Infamous seemed like the kind of team that would actually just straight up
10
run the
seconds
Slardar on a,
remaining.
like, more farmed than running around as a 4 kind of thing.
5
You know, like,
seconds
you see Liquid
remaining.
play and GH just runs around, he's happy having, like, Tranquil Boots and Wind Lay someone to the point where they win the fight, and then he wins a fight, gets 2 kills, and then runs off and farms Blink Dagger in 2 minutes.
DC's turn to ban.
And then that happens at any time between, like, 10 minutes and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Infamous seem like the kind of people to do that kind of thing, you know?
Well,
'Cause
they're mathematically out. We got to remember that. It's Infamous. They're a scrappy team. I don't know what the hell to expect from them. This is their
10
chance. Maybe
seconds
they might just do
remaining.
whatever because they're at the point where obviously they're
Dire
going to have to
team
look
ban.
forward to the next qualifier, whether it be, I'm not sure if they're a part of the DAC qualifier or not off the top of my head, but that and maybe possibly the Kiev Major. So here and now, maybe it's their time to try something out. You are going into a matchup against
10
DC, an
seconds
opportunity that you
remaining.
may not get very often. So there's also a part that they may take this a bit more
5
seriously.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm just working out if this... They ban
Reserve
Ursa,
time.
Abaddon, and Nakes have both been removed. Abaddon is the scourge of the US scene and servers. Play a pub, you end up playing versus Abaddon. If you play Ember Spirit and you play versus Abba, there's actually very little you can do in the early game if that Abaddon wants to make sure you can't do much. Because he just follows you around and basically runs at you. Means you can't sit there and fight him because he just kind of is unkillable. And then he shields every single person you try and slight chains. Which is really, really obnoxious. And if you ever commit, he just heals them. And then you're kind of going, okay, I've got no remnants now and everyone's alive and hitting me. So,
10
yeah.
seconds.
Abaddon, good ban.
AKA DC making sure that Ember has a good time.
5 seconds.
Yeah,
remaining.
pretty much most of this
Doesn't
comes
want
down
to be
to
dealing with any annoying ass.
can't really kill Nakes and can't really kill Abaddon.
Reserve
And
time.
Abaddon just kind of ruins everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty
Fair
wise.
enough. Fair enough. Well, moving forward here for Digital Chaos side right now, you already got what looks like the Saxa Rubik here. I don't know if Doom will percolate with DC a bit and just, get them the itch to pull out something different here. I'm trying to think if there's like a resonating like support pick that back when Doom was a big deal. Pudge, I guess, is all right.
Dire
I mean,
team.
he's not really going to be the focal point of Doom regardless, but he still offers all the great potential that we've seen him bring in this meta as it is. Initiation, he's a nuisance in the laning phase, and even late game. Just pull out one clutch hook and suddenly you get a, 3-2-2 turnaround.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, you can do things like that. You can basically just slight chains people
5
at any
seconds
point in
remaining.
late game. And then, yeah, it's pretty much just a guaranteed hook. And it actually starts becoming a thing. Like, as soon as
Reserve
Ember starts
time.
hitting, like, level 12, 13, like, you have higher levels than slight. I think, like, once you hit, like, level 3 slight, that's when you can reliably do it. And then you can basically just kill people. And it's not much they can do about it. You can find Slardars and Dooms, and I think it's weird, because, like, having Slardar and Doom on the same team is, like, if either of those heroes dies early on in the fight, like, it's just not easy to battle unless you've got, like, a really big core, right?
Yeah.
So, I think Infamous they're going to have to have a good laning stage.
Yeah,
and
what
they're
are they
going to
gonna
have
do
one of
with
these
it?
heroes is going to have a lot of farm, I think.
Yeah. And which one? Like, are they going to do that 4-position
Oh,
Doom
if
or
it's the
4-position
Doom,
Slardar,
like-
Like, I don't know how Infamous like to do it. I tend to lean towards the idea that
DC's
they might
turn
put
to
it in a
pick.
4-position. I think it's Valkyria, right, who typically plays their offlane and probably will take the Slardar.
Yeah,
That's just my
you'd
early
think
inkling.
so.
It seems a bit ballsy to suddenly go, you know what, I'm going back to an offlane Doom meta. Oh,
Dire team
well,
pick.
here's a pretty good answer to deal with all these big bad bruisers who need to kind of get in the middle of a fight. They got Axe.
Yeah, I
It's like
think
you're bouncing.
DC are basically just going to go, okay, if we're going to win the laning phase pretty hard, you just send Axe up there. If they don't have enough to deal with him, he's just going to go, okay, I'm going to get a Blink Dagger and a
10
Vanguard.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, this is probably one of those kind of Vanguard games, because you don't really need a dagger that
5
soon against those
seconds
heroes.
remaining.
Yeah.
If Pudge gets anything, I think this game's going to be really hard, because Dazzle's going to be running around trying to grave people, and then the
10
people he's trying to
seconds
grave are going to be
remaining.
suddenly 1,300 units away.
Oosh. All right. Well,
just
DC's turn
Lots
to
of
ban.
strength heroes.
yeah,
with,
right.
Yeah.
This is like a feast right now for someone like Timbersaw, and there's not much to really lock him down. I mean, sure, there's call and dismember, but Timber's a big boy. I don't know. That's a great pick from Infamous. I mean, it's very counter pick,
Dire
but
team ban.
and now they're just like have a serious amount of melee, but
Yeah, I'm just working out where the Doom's going. Really, that's the thing I'm working out. TA ban for DC. They don't want to. Yeah, you could just have a TA mid with Ember, and then you could put
10
Slardar
seconds remaining.
or a Timbersaw safe lane, either one really. Probably Timber safe lane for the most
5
part, just to
seconds
make sure you
remaining.
always have a good matchup versus the Axe.
Dire team
But then yeah, you could just have a TA, and then he could take Roche at any point with
Wind
Slardar.
Ranger at your service.
Okay, what is going?
DC's
Okay.
turn to pick.
Yeah, so that's a Windrunner, a Wind Ranger. It's lanes decently versus Ember. It's not the best hero in the world. It kind of struggles versus Ember in late game, because when Ember gets a Linken's Windrunner, it's just kind of like, what do I do? But up until that point, there's lots you can
10
use for kills.
seconds
You get
remaining.
any kind of Slardar blink kind of with ulti. He's very good at killing Doom people, because
5
lots of people are killing
seconds
Doom people.
remaining.
But yeah.
I mean, it's not bad. Like, let's say she gets hooked by Pudge, just
Reserve
quickly
time.
spam that win run and pray to God you make
Mhm.
it away from trouble.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm just kind of like, Infamous's draft just looks really annoying to play against if they
Yeah.
have lots of farm on their team. But the question is like, can they get that requisite farm? Is
I
what
don't
I'm worried
know.
about.
I mean, they're caring obviously a lot about. They're being very reactive to DC's draft. So I hope they're actually considering a bit of what they're going to need to be able to do in the laning stage to be able to be to that point when they are very good at countering DC's lineup. So hopefully not too greedy in that front. DC have at least one more pick to kind of evaluate the situation here. you know, Infamous with like 3 different types of what could be offlaners. It's probably going to take
Yeah,
a few
it's-
extra moments here from Misery to kind of like figure out what's exactly going to be going on. And he's going to finalize with a Weaver grab here. And it is looking like the core Weaver through and through, a Resolution Weaver, will you? And just something that can be elusive and hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, I think Infamous's draft is a bit like who goes where, you know, kind of will he or won't he? Will Timbersaw go to the safe lane versus the Axe, or will Stardar? It's like, but DC, Weaver's going to hit creeps at the safe lane, Ember's going to go middle, Pudge is going to roam around, Ruby's probably going to help the Weaver out, and Axe is going to get whatever he can, wherever he can. So,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at, I think, because on any given team at any point, one hero on one role is probably going to get more farm than he should relative to normal because of how the enemy team plays, and someone's
Yeah.
going to suffer a bit more. It really depends, because I think it's probably going to be Misery. Misery's probably going to be the guy who profits from the early game somehow. If he does, then he gets to make everyone's life miserable. But if it's someone else, like if it's Axe, then he gets a fast dagger, and then, well, Dazzles and Windrunners become rather sad. If it's Ember, then yeah, they just don't really have much apart from Doom to kill an Ember this early on. Like, they need to catch him with a lot of heroes, like 3 or more if it's not Doom. Yeah, and the Weaver, he's probably going to become difficult to kill as well. So I'm just kind of worried that, like, if anyone from DC has a good start, I think this game is pretty... It feels comfortable for them.
Yeah. It definitely feels like it's a DC comfortable kind of a lineup. Infamous have something that's definitely more unorthodox, more tuned to try to prevent DC from feeling comfortable, if you will. We did have a bit of a pause here. I was going to see about showing maybe a little bit of stats work. I got finally all the fancy production tools that Starletter kind of sends out to, you know, let you push all these buttons and make cool pictures and statistics pop up. And I was like ready to take advantage of it because, you know, we've had lots of delays, lots of pauses through this qualifier. I finally now have the tools to kind of, you know, BS my way through the delays, but it looks like we're not going to be starting with too much of a pause here. So let's get underway here. Again, super important match, obviously more so for DC. They're kind of sitting at the top of the group stage, but if they want to reaffirm a position and a possibility to make it to the LAN, you know, this is your second place TI finisher here, a team that I would imagine feels confident that they should be deserving direct LAN invites. Here they are playing through the qualifier. They got to earn that spot now. And to do so, they're going to need a 2-0, man. Otherwise, they're at risk of allowing a team like NP or even Complexity to kind of
30 seconds to
sketch
battle.
on by.
Infamous seem like the kind of team to be folded onto an upset, so...
Ooh,
I don't know.
you think so?
So, yeah, I think so. They just beat people they shouldn't. Oh, I don't think it was the same roster, though, but old Infamous used to beat
Yeah.
FDN all the time when they shouldn't have on paper and things like that. But they do have support Doom, they've got Dazzle with the smoke, Windrunner, stereotypical mid items, Stardar's going to be going safe lane, that's probably the interesting thing going on, so if he gets left alone too much, this Axe is going to have a field day. But also Timber, like, Timber's just not going to have fun down here. Unless Dazzle helps him out, even then, I don't think that seems very enjoyable.
I'm curious how much of an element, you know, comes into play when you're just kind of rusty playing against those kind of heroes, whether it's the mid lane matchup against the Wind Ranger, which we don't see every day anymore, and just playing against the Doom and possibly the element of surprise he could bring into the mid game, and especially once he gets obviously his Doom online, or maybe even just a way to initiate, whether that be Blink, Shadow Blade. That is stuff that you just kind of might forget at first because you're just not used to it being in the meta. We'll see if Infamous is going to be able to play to those kind of strengths. Bottom lane, though, not looking so good of a start. And they might get that first blood. They pull back on for Hope, and because he has the heal and no grave, he will go down right away. You were talking a bit about Misery and how much of an impact he is going to be looking to make in the early game, and look at the start already. He gets first blood.
Yep, that's for Infamous, that is the worst hero to get first blood. Pudge running around with boots, like, he can just start threatening Windrunner, and then, I think if this guy gets, yeah, I think it's like early enough Tranquils, and then he gets like level 3 at a decent time, he can just threaten everyone. Yeah, but in terms of, like, the element of surprise or whatever for Doom, yeah, that kind of is a factor. Obviously, like, there's a faster Stardar Blink, which people are going to have to worry about, but
Yeah.
obviously he kind of telegraphs his ganks by
But even
going
now,
missing
look
from
at
the
this.
top lane.
Runs in, Infernal Blade. Remember that ability for a while? Totally was
Oh
abused
my.
as OP. Here it is back, beating on Moon Meander here. Doesn't
Well,
seem
that
to be
crit
a
is
serious
something I did
threat,
not
but
miss.
yeah, but like, you know, just something you're kind of like, oh yeah, Doom can be a zoner, apparently. He can hit hard. Moon's going to learn that
Yeah.
lesson
Oh,
and
it's the
fast
sword.
get back. Ooh, hits him again. But he's feeling pretty confident here, but second Valkyria pounds his chest and comes forward. Moon reevaluates, but they're doing a decent job threatening and keeping him back. But Moon's still able to kind of hang here. Pops a salve and is going to be able to get a part of that XP.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well here. Yeah, the element of surprise, yeah, there's just lots of things. The Doom level 6 is probably going to be faster than they expect because yeah, he's just running around getting bounty runes now.
Yeah.
He's also got a little purge creep, although he doesn't really have the mana to use it. But he will, shortly enough. And Weeha and Winner are both contesting for this rune.
And they're pretty neck and neck at the moment for CS. But is that just how it's expected to go as levels come online?
Timber, no.
Bottom lane, Timber looks like he's been snagged and pulled back by Misery. And with Saksa helping out with the telekinesis, actually didn't even need to use it. Once you're hooked and grabbed, you're not going to be getting too far. Mid lane, chains, some mild harassment comes out. Nothing too threatening, but again, Misery strikes bottom lane. Now he might have some more options to kind of move around. He's made an impact in this bottom lane. That's going to change things for Infamous. Ooh, Saksa crossing past with Valkyria as he returns. Just really
yeah, they need to do this lane switch. The Timber was unable to lane bottom. He had the makings of a poor man's shield in his quick buy, but he was a level 1 Timber Soul with React. If he can't get away from Pudge, if Pudge gets on top of him, he's instantly dead. And given that Pudge has boots and a windlace, laning bot was not a feasible option. So, he moves to the top lane, and then he's like, there's an Axe here, but at least there's a double creep wave. But Axe is still very much here.
Yeah, he
And,
is
yeah.
going to be confident to stand under the tower. Nearby is the Doom, continuing to roam around, has not been able to get fully to level 3 quite yet, just based on some side camps and picking up bounty runes here. But the real threat is still Misery. Now floating around this mid lane, it looks like Cristiano, who I believe is Kotaro Hayama still, is going to head down south and make it away from trouble. But look who's here to block him a bit. It's Saksa waiting, stalling out. He's going to go ahead and get the easy telekinesis, the easy throwback. Now caught between 3. Here comes the rest of Infamous. There's going to be a nice grave to save him for now. Leads to the crush. Can they get the takedown of Misery? Yes, they can. They will still end up losing Kotaro Hayama. And DC are going to be looking to go for more. There's going to be a good chains and slash. Double kill comes in for Weeha. DC, take the better trade. Weeha's going to be very happy about that. And even takes a nice DD rune on the other side of things. Moonmeander crossing past with the Doom. Eats the Infernal Blade, but Moonmeander bigger, stronger, level 4. Dishes out the call, looks to pull him back, but not going to be able to get any sort of finish there. Pops the Shrine, he'll be fine. On the other side, it is going to be Timberside taking down Misery as he does return to the top lane. And then of course, Miss will action.
Oh, Saxo was like trying really, really hard to pester the Slardar, and Slardar decided he'd had enough of that, so he just went and killed him.
Yeah.
And
a lot of things breaking down at once. It looked like, I guess, Misery returned to the top lane and just died right away to the Timber. So he'll have
this
to...
Weaver is so far ahead now.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
They just can't really go bot. Sardar's probably going to come down here and he's just going to get harassed maybe for a few seconds, and then he's going to go, I can't really deal with this, someone else come down here, and the Timber's going to come down there, and then the same thing's going to happen again. Now Weaver's about to hit 6, it's just going to get a little bit worse.
Oh, Misery and Saksa rolling. They're rushing on forward. They're looking to go for the Timber. Nearby is Hope. Can he hope to get off a shallow grave? Yes, he can, but he has put himself into the fire and the trouble, and he will be going down. Easy takedown there, but hey, on the bright side here, Infamous get their own takedown simultaneously, as it's going to be Weeha drop there. Assistance coming in between the Doom and Wind Ranger. They get it done.
Oh, that's good. That's one of the best moves this team can make. Level 4 or 5 minutes. He's doing okay in terms of levels. Oh, there's a potential hook coming out on Timbersaw top lane. Sax is just kind of waiting for it. Yeah, but Timber knows what's up.
I mean, this is great for DC. Everything they're doing right now, they're just making an impact on the other lanes. It's space, baby. Space for resolution. He continues to farm up and be the biggest threat in this game. He's got the highest CS, now pushing on 40 and 13. And the rest of his team is just forcing Infamous to kind of move around a lot and respond. Even now, top lane, Saksa rolling in, gets off telekinesis, throws beautifully right into the arms of Moon with the call. Misery, not even going to need to throw out a hook. Helps rot things down, and that will lead to another takedown of the Timber. You know, a hero that's precious to meet those quotas of getting those items, getting those arcanes, moving towards a Bloodstone rather. That's not going to be happening on time. Top lane, nice hook pullback comes through from Misery onto the Doom, and they're just going to take him to a slow and painful death. Oh, I like that purge. It's very cute. Allows him to run his way through the trees. Doom will stay alive. Nice convenient creep to have there.
Yeah, that's the danger with picking Timber Sword of like a not sure lane. Like Timber is usually reserved for like okay, we're going to put him solo safe lane versus somebody, and that somebody's going to be very, very sad because he's laning versus a Timber. But in the situation like this, where he's not sure where he's meant to be laning and he's just trying to get something or anything, it's really, really, it's like an unstable way of playing almost, you know?
Oh, Wee pops his haste rune. He's rushing towards the Wind Ranger. She has that shrine nearby. She's got to pop it. It barely keeps her alive as Wee commits in for the Remnant. Now he gets found in a shackle shot, power shot situation, and he goes down. Oh, a confident move comes out from Wee. That quick reaction of the shrine. I thought he wasn't going to hit that shrine in time, but he gets it and barely stays afloat. Hook, top lane. They're going to be going again for the Timbersaw here. It looks like they will get it. And Dunk will finish it off. First dunk of the game comes out from Moon. Timber dropped again. A good response from DC, though.
Misery hits level 5 at decent time. He's got smokes, he's got tranquils, and he's probably going to go and run at the Windrunner for a little bit. Who, in turn, has phase roots and is working on a 1, but Infamous, even though they're killing the Ember, Ember's pretty underfarmed, but apart from that...
They're rolling in, they're trying to get hold of Valkyria here. They get the telekinesis to throw back into the Bug Swarm, but obviously not enough to be able to break through and do some serious hurt. Just still Resolution imposing his will in the bottom lane, saying it's mine for farming. He actually already took the tier 1 tower down, so you suppose this Weaver is just going to continue this great economy farm game and just go through the jungle at this point. He doesn't even need to worry about fighting, does he?
No, but he can show up if he does want to. I think the only thing he has to worry about really is showing up to a fight and getting Starter ulted or doomed. And Starter ulted into Shackle or doomed is pretty much the worst case scenario for him. So as long as he keeps farming, that doesn't happen. But Moon is getting ran out.
Possible baited situation here. Misery looking to go for the bailout. Gets a nice hook. Moon might need to consider denying himself. No, it looks like he's going to be fine. Infamous continued their chase. This started with Moon making his advancement onto the lane, but it was a sudden surprise attack coming out from Infamous. But it looks like thanks to Misery, he will bail out his offlaner, and now possibly find himself crossing paths with Mr. 2001. Looks like he'll step off. All right, well, I mean, Misery's still doing work, man. Level 5, making the impact, keeping Infamous on their toes, allowing DC to just continue to go for other things. Looks like Resolution's found himself in the mid lane with the rest of his team pushing for a tower. Nice telekinesis, nice hook combo. Doom's gonna go down.
He doesn't go down without giving Weehard a little bit of a purge, so he's still annoying him no matter what. Weehard's thinking about doing something? No. Windrunner's not going to allow that to happen. Oh my.
Almost found himself caught again in an awkward spot, being a bit far forward, but this time we'll be able to make it back and away. Had that dazzle been really anyone else, it could have been a different story, but look at this.
They start out with a 9-minute dagger coming out.
They fake back with a smoke, and they're looking to make a strong debut with that dagger. They could jump across and find Moon Meander here, and it looks like that could be the case. Jumping the trees, not yet, they ping him out. He's waiting for it here, now he'll go for it, moves in, gets the crush, hits him with the amp damage, the power shot, nicely comes in from Kataro to assist that one. On the other front, Saksa will get the takedown of the Doom, as Kataro makes a sketchy little getaway. It's a takedown of an offlaner of higher net worth though, in exchange for the Doom. Infamous will take that one.
They will take it, but DC, Rez is basically like, okay, I took my safe lane tower, I do not feel comfortable just AFK farming, I would like to hit buildings. So he's just hitting the tier 1 mid, which they're probably going to get in the next wave if Dire don't divert a large amount of resources to it, but they will. They're sending 4 heroes here. Especially with the Starter dagger, you can't really hang around because you could just get Blink stunned into Starter ulti into Shadow Weave.
We got some tense building up here. Infamous rolling back in. They're going to get off the crush here for Saksa. He does get the nice hook save, but it's not going to be enough. Tower shots keep coming in with the amp damage, and Rubik can't take too many of those. Now a Purge, and a Hellfire Blade, and a Crush. Misery's going to be going down here. Infamous take 2 down, and they're crawling themselves back into relevance here. Ever since that Slardar was able to show off his Blink Dagger, they're making some spunky plays happen here.
Yeah, this is what they need to do. Like, if you look at the farm, you see Weaver's, he's got like Perseverance, Treads, Bites to Achilles, they've got pretty much everything he wants. And you've got Sada who went, I'm going to use that same amount of gold on a dagger. Well, not same amount, but that same time to farm a dagger. And he seems to be doing stuff with it. So they kill Moon, which Moon does have his dagger, so it's not the worst death in the world. He loses an enormous amount of gold, but there's going to be a fight. I think DC want to use this axe dagger, and he probably wants a little bit of space, so he probably wants a fight to happen somewhere else on the map, so the support's probably going to try and make something happen top, and then they start pinging the tier 1 tower top to finish that tower off. So if they can just make the fighting happen away from this Ember for a little bit to allow him to become relevant, hit that level
Radiant's
10,
top
get
tower
plus
is under
15%
attack.
spell amp, then I think DC should be pretty happy.
They're still putting a lot of favor in, obviously, Resolution and him getting his bit of space. I mean, just there he had pretty much the whole bottom lane to advance up and even get some shots on that tier 2, and now he's even going to get priority in the top lane. For now, they might be using it as a baiting opportunity, as DC do kind of congregate all behind him. But Infamous are not taking that bait at the moment. They're hanging around towards the mid lane. They actually did use a smoke, so they are going to head their way up there, it looks like.
Dire's
So
top
we'll have to
tower
see.
is
Infamous
under
might need
attack.
everybody up here if they want
Dire's
to
top
have a
tower
chance in
has
this fight, but
fallen.
they might get an opportunity to get an early jump onto Saksa here, who gets a nice ward down. That could help a bit, but Infamous are still smoked. They're only going to see the Dazzle nearby. This could bait them in forward. They're going to take the bait. They move in. Nice crush. It only connects, though, onto Saksa. They'll get the hook pullback for Slardar. They'll go for the bite. There's a dunk, and that's going to be the first one taken out. Now the Doom going to be coming out. It's on Resolution. Good connection there. If they burst him down, he's going to be done for. Good grab there from Infamous, making it a 2-for-1 trade. DC trying to retreat and make it away, but they'll connect. It's going to be the Chakram to slow down Misery. Killer Queen on the hunt here. Moon jumps back in. He's 1 versus 4 and a nice hook pullback here. Get some assistance. Resolution, though.
Dire's middle tower is
Did they
under
just
attack.
die to... Okay. That's interesting.
It was a
Oh, Weeha's coming in.
a kill from the grave, but here comes Weeha from behind.
Doesn't
Nice
have
shackle
flame guard,
connection. Moon gets a nice jump, though. If he gets some spins, it should do work. A hook pullback will help get the finish on one. Qatar looking to make it away on the other side. Down and below, Saksa and company, they're going to help get the cutoff kill onto the Timber Saw. They would love to get the Wind Ranger down, but it looks like Qatar is going to be able to make it away. Quite chaotic there. It started very favorable
Dire's
for
middle
Infamous, but
tower is
DC
under
are able to
attack.
string together a couple of response kills at the back
Dire's
end of the fight.
structures are fortified.
Yeah, DC's... It's kind of going a bit weird because their main fighting hero out of their cause is the Ember, but...
Dire's middle
Okay.
tower
Beautiful hook
is losing out.
onto the Doom will lead to a wonderful pick off there for DC. Nice job by Misery, kind of reveals the fact that they do have those very aggressive wards, but hey, they're worth the money now.
Yep. Now, I was just saying that the Ember is the main hero they want to fight with. They want to get the fast Veil, then they want to like kind of snowball everything past that. So he's just really, really, really good at fighting him again. But basically, the Weaver, they don't really want to fight with him until Lincoln's because it's really easy for him to get doomed as he saw in the last fight. And if he gets slowed down too much, then he kind of falls off fairly quickly. Especially because damaging heroes like Windrunner and Timbersaw, even, yeah, Sodom might get a bit too tanky. But they really want the Resolution to be the hero that farms on the other side of the map from the action up until that
Radiant's
Lincoln's.
bottom tower
But
is under
because
attack.
Ember got so far behind, he had to be the one to fight, so... And then they'd lose, or kind of go even in that fight. So it's not the ideal situation for DC, but they're doing okay, I think.
Yeah, they're definitely still winning the farm game. They're still using most of the map, it looks like, wisely, as Resolution is split
Radiant's
farming himself at
bottom
the top. The
tower
rest
is
of his
under
team,
attack.
the 4-man group here,
Dire's top
could
tower
find
is under
themselves
attack.
up in arms with Infamous in just a moment. Infamous are rolling through here, but haven't seemed to be able to make it through undetected. They'll drop down the sentry. They get the brief sight on the Resolution. Are they going to go for the turnaround? They need to go for the Doom connection, and they will get it. Misery, though, gets his own hook pickoff here onto the Slardar. It's going to be a 1-1 split. Comes the Doom, no, popping out the fire, moving on forward. It's going to be damage on the Moon. Can they get the finish? Yes, they can. Shred on forward comes out from Killer Queen, and the axe will fall. Misery, though, continues to connect with the hooks, gets the pullback on the Timber, but he jumps back just as fast. DC continue to tickle with him a bit, but are not looking to commit too far from home. Infamous get the better trade here. Resolution, who was just split farming in the top lane, gets in on the action here on the bottom, Ryan, and dies
Radiant's
first.
bottom tower is under attack.
Yep, they're just losing fights right now. Is not don't want to take fights right
Radiant's
now. This is
bottom
not the
tower
point where they
has
want to be
fallen.
battling. They want the Weaver Lincolns. They really, really do. And Infamous are just kind of taking advantage of that. Admittedly, they're not accruing a huge advantage right now, but the Doom's about to get Midas and 300 gold, and then that's when things start to kind of, well, scale out of control, because Doom is the main hero that's going to be a problem, I think, in this game. Sada, he's had his little bit of an impact, and they're kind of playing around his Blink Dagger now, but the Doom is the one that's going to be the main focus, I think. Because there's going to be Shackles flying out of Fog on Weaver and then follow-up Dooms, and that's going to be the main way they're going to win fights, like 30 minutes plus.
And we'll
So-
just have to see if DC kind of read the situation the same. I don't want to continue to roll back a bit, but it's not every day, or at least not in these recent days, these recent patches, that you're going against the Doom in that kind of situation again, where
Dire's
you have
top
to
tower
put
is
priority
under
onto him.
attack.
We'll see if
Radiant
DC kind of have the heads up
structures are
about it or
fortified.
not. As the pressure's coming in. Infamous haven't been good this game at being able to follow up with objectives, though, as this is
Radiant's
just their
middle tower
first,
is
no,
under
second
attack.
tower to go down.
Radiant's middle
So
tower
they are
has
still
fallen.
lacking the money there, but look at this, a return fight in. They are going to be able to get on the back end of the slight. A good crush connection on for Wii. Heals fly out. A hook comes in from behind onto Misery to take out the Dazzle from the fight. They will be able to get the finish onto Wii. And look at that. They're going to be able to save the Doom with the Grave. Heal flies forward. Double kill for the Dazzle of all people. Jump in. Remnant buyback comes out from Wii, though. Here's the fight back coming out from DC, and it turns into a double kill for Moon. They quickly wipe out 3. Oh, just as the initial fight comes in from Infamous, it looks so good. DC do the buyback play, and they make it count, man. Triple kill at the end there for Moon. Huge turnaround fight for DC overall.
Yeah, I'd say that buyback was worth, I think.
Definitely. That was nice.
Yeah, so we was a little bit sad there because sometimes you drop a remnant and you're like, okay, there's no disables ready, they have no Stardust stun, and then you get hit by the 10% bash, and then you die. And that's when it gets really, really, really sad. But he's alive now. He kind of didn't really profit from that fight, but Moon definitely did, who's starting to work on his 4 stuff now.
Dire's
So.
middle tower
It was something
is
like you
under
mentioned, I
attack.
think, in the draft for Infamous's lineup. Like, once they, I think you were talking about like, the Slaughter and the Doom in that case. Like, once they put everything out there, it's like they just put it out there. So, in that case, they took the initial fight with it, but once the buybacks came out, like, what did they have to offer at that point? It felt like they were pretty well spent. And obviously, with that kind of positioning and not having your own buyback to really be able to just insta-TP in and take a fight, it's great value for DC, but I'm curious if Infamous can kind of change that similar outcome. I don't know what you do, though, to change it.
Well, they're living in the post-Lincoln's world now, so it's a dangerous world to live in. I think Doom does have his Midas, and he's starting to go for, like, he's going to go for mech into Guardian Grooves, and then he's probably going to be as tanky as possible, and then he's going to be throwing fire swords at everybody, but I just think with this Weaver having Lincolns, he can play quite far up, and they're kind of like spam picking everyone out. They know that Infamous are farming this area, but everyone's like kind of tentatively trying to avoid a fight. Weeha's like going, okay guys, I need my dagger, I'm actually just getting kind of shredded here. So
Ooh. Resolution makes an advancement here for Kataro. Kataro fires back with a shackle, but it will be dodged from the Sakuchi. Still flirting here as Moon waits in that pocket. Eyeballs. 2001 here on the Doom doesn't make any jump play yet, and they'll just
he
pull
doesn't
off.
have follow-up.
Yeah.
See, what Kataro's doing is every single time Weaver shows up, he doesn't care if the shackle's actually going to do anything. He's just throwing shackles out because that means Weaver has to play back. Because Weaver gets doomed, they do not have enough save. Like, if there is a Stardar missing on the map, if there is a Timbersaw who can chain in, that Weaver will die if he gets doomed. There is not much that can prevent that, short of him like getting hooked out extremely far away. So they need to back out as soon as that Weaver Linkage is broken. So it's just kind of something. It's like an unselfish play for him. He's not going to get the kill himself, but it just means that Weaver's day is a little bit worse off. And Weaver, who is now going for a defusal, is sitting pretty happy hitting this tower because they can't actually kill him straight up. They can scare him if they have enough heroes, but they don't quite have enough heroes.
Do you think pressure's going to be building up here on Kataro on the Wind Ranger to kind of be able to be a real late gamer for the team? I mean, it's been a while since I've seen a Wind Ranger like severe late game, but I remember days of her being a serious right-click hero. You get the Ags online at some point, which she is building towards now. That plus the Maelstrom is super nice. Then you get that next big DPS item. She becomes a problem, but how do you match up that kind of late game compared to like Ember and Weaver on the other team? This seems overbearing.
Yeah, if this game goes super late game and like Doom isn't incredibly big, Windrunner's gonna have a problem, sure. Like Windrunner will, Ember's gonna get a Linkage eventually, and he's gonna have a Mjolnir and all kinds of things. But right now, as soon as he gets Axe, he's probably gonna be able to tear Ember apart. He's gonna be pretty good at killing the Axe, even through Call with like Maelstrom and things like that. The Pudge needs to be very careful because he dies very, very quickly, especially with Stardar on the map. So there's lots of people he can kill, but it's gonna last and be that way, like after his Axe for quite a while. But he doesn't really have access to much farm.
I'm not sure if they're trying to bait or something with this Doom, but he may be closer to trouble than he thinks here. you can say the same for the other team as they are going to take the initiative. Valkyria makes a jump for Misery, then he'll get jumped by Moon. Now Timber shows up, and it's going to be Infamous getting off the first big punch, and it's going to quickly take out both those big baddies. Misery and Moon going to get dropped on this one. Weed turns around with the chains, but Infamous not going to go any further. They're super happy with that. And they'll walk back and away. That was an approach from DC. They've been creeping in that top lane for what feels like the past 3 minutes or so. And it's going to be Infamous who get the catch.
Invisibility.
Yep, there's just not much counterplay. If Pudge gets gone on, he is the save. Like,
Yeah.
the hook is the save. If he dies, then... Well, if he just gets stunned at the beginning, especially caught with the axe, like, there is not much follow-up they can do. So... Like, the only way they would win a fight like that, with that initiation, if Weaver's already hitting the Dazzle, and the Dazzle's forced to, like, grave himself, and then Ember goes in and, like, gets on the Windrunner, and then forces him to Windrunner, and then they just kind of stall out the fight from there. But it's all very, very, very difficult to kind of do, so Infamous, if they get the jump like that, then they're pretty much guaranteed a teamfight win. Or at least control of their own jungle. But they haven't quite found this aggressive Observer Ward, which means they're going to be sitting as 3...
Every coin helps.
Oh, what is this? Ah, they get it.
Ooh, just miss it.
They got the ward indeed, so...
Oh, they did get it.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was looking at
yeah,
the
it was just a range. Windrunner decided to go bop it. So, Windrunner Ags becomes closer. Timbersaw grows richer. He's got Yules, and he's about to get bits of travel, so they won't feel so trapped on their map now. Because a big symptom of how they've had to play is, like, sure, they can defend their own jungle, and they've got some good fights, but they've done it at the result of losing half this HP on their mid-tier, or bottom tier 2 tower,
Yeah.
some HP on their mid-tier 2, and generally they're just not really farming the lanes, which is why this game is a lot more... well, this game is just very, very even overall, and you'd expect Infamous to have slightly more farm, because of, like, the way they've been winning fights recently, but... Now with the ability to win, win the lane pushing war, at least for a time, they should be okay. But Resolution's going to make his way back up top.
Yeah, it's hard to tell by DC's body language if they already know that the pressure's on them to maybe get something done. All that economy game they were playing before been pretty much taken away now by Infamous with those couple of great trades. Infamous now, we haven't seen too much of them really pushing past the river and starting to take it towards tier 2s. This is the closest we've seen them do so as they come deep into this mid lane. Now possibly an approach onto Wee trying to farm at the side lane. Do they have enough lockdown power? Yes, they do. Shackle shot and all that right-click ulti. Sweetness coming up from Kataro. The little lady is going to get it done. Maybe space though for DC as they've already made the move into the Roche pit. They're going to take the Aegis here, it looks like. Resolution.
This Aegis will make it very, very... well, it'll make it slightly more convenient to take fights. Ember's now starting to realise the reality of living in a world with a... Now Aghanim's
Alright, not most connection there on the Doom, but they will do enough to be able to bring him down and possibly go onto the Timber Saw. Beautiful Dismember catch there for Misery. Will lock him in place. He tries the Timber Chain out, but the chase is on. He uses himself, but eventually the catch is there for DC. They'll get the call. And alright, momentum starting to swing back towards DC's favor now. Feeling confident they got the Aegis here. It's time for them to take out these remaining tier 2s, maybe even the Shrines, before the Aegis does lose its cool.
The thing about Infamous is you go on them, you're pretty much guaranteed to win the fight. Yeah, it's pretty much mostly the person who kind of goes in will
So it's
be
catch
the
or
more
be
favoured
caught
of,
kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. But DC, obviously, they have the ability to kind of stand there now. They have the Aegis on Weaver. Weehar's got the Blink and Veil, so he's kind of feels a little bit more confident playing up. But oh, Timbersaw's getting harassed a bit. But I'm just really wondering how do Infamous like get the ganks going when they don't really have any tier 2s left? Do they feel comfortable smoking out from their base? I think any move they make is going to be rather obvious at this point, but they still have a chance. They have a chance of catching Misery, but I think overall Saxon and Misery are playing way more careful than they were before.
Yeah,
which
that definitely seems
really
to be
limits the
case.
opportunities.
Yeah, I don't think Infamous's lineup, it definitely does not work at its best when you're like in that situation where you're just kind of waiting indoors while the other team is just floating out front, and you only can let a couple of heroes out to kind of play and farm a bit here. But that is quickly becoming the situation here for Infamous. So DC will be able to just kind of segue back into a net worth advantage, and we'll have to see if DC will be able to find anything for themselves while they still have the Aegis. Because that is just going to be what Infamous have to dodge and stall out in the meantime.
Yep, so Weaver is going for the Mjolnir, and Ember's going for the Radiance, but before they get both these items, they're probably going to take the bot tier 2. I like this item build from Weaver. He's probably not going to get that much done with just a Deso, because obviously there's a Timbersaw. He's not even easy to kill even with a Desolator.
Yeah.
Maelstrom is just nice for pushing out lanes because, well, they have Ember for that as well, but it's just, Mjolnir's a nice item to have from Weaver.
Well, looks like
Especially if
DC
you're
are going to be
already
going for an engagement top lane. Just as the Timber chain out, he gets the call, so Timbersaw going to be forced to walk right back into trouble. Has built up enough reactive armor to kind of shrug off a bit of the damage here. Still gets chained down, but they're not looking to advance. Now Valkyrian Company rotate over from Infamous. There's the jump in from Moon. Gets a nice call into 2. Remnants on forward, and big burst comes out from DC. They take a strong initiative on this fight, and now it's going to be Infamous trying to retreat out. Oh, poor Dazzle. He's like, I might try to juke behind this tree. No, you will not. Quickly surrounded by 4. It's a disaster to look at. We'll see. Resolution trying to maybe get a catch on Kotaro. DC, though, certainly take this fight. Even using the Purge here. Get back inside that base. Big fight for DC.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't run with Doom and Sardar right next to each other, walking uphill into a place where you know there's 4 or 5 DC heroes. That's just not something you can afford to do.
Looks like Kotaro came back outside, found himself in a bit of trouble here between Weeha and Resolution. The 2 cores able to just put Kotaro back home. And DC now just looking for anyone who's hanging outside the baselines now. Even Timbersaw being hunted quite a bit here. Oh no, rotation in from the Doom? Right into DC trouble now. He will be able to pop out the Shrine, but here we go. Valkyria trying to help out his brother. Jumps in, gets off the crush, but now quickly realizes that they are in trouble. They're going to have to deny Rezo?
No, it's just an Aegis.
He wants to hit him and force the deny. Looks like he would have went down regardless, so.
Such a
just
casual
cost
tap
Aegis.
with the massive axe.
It's a little love bomb right there. Mid lane. Love tap comes
so
out from
just getting-
Valkyria,
Is under
but
attack.
Yeah.
he's fine, he's fine. DC seem in a more comfortable position than they've ever been in this game right now.
Valkyria thought his destiny was to become the farm position 1 starter, but he's got his blink and his Shadow Blade. He knows this is all he's going to have for a while, but Weeha's getting looked at.
Oh yeah, J-Hope with the jukes, man. He runs straight forward and then just somehow to the side and manages to dodge a hook and a call. But they're still out from home here. Nice save bailout comes out from the killer. He gets a nice 2-man crush. But oh my god! There's Weeha. Just puts them both straight 6 feet under
Dire's bottom tower
with some
is under
serious remnant action. Now a nice chain down, jump in, call combo. Moon dunks 1. Loses his own life, but the impact has been made. Infamous lose 4 here. A buyback is available for Kotaro, but he doesn't seem to want to use it. They may be accepting the fact that this game number 1 is going to be going to DC here, but they are still holding on. Timbersaw makes his move in. There's the buyback for Kotaro. He's going to get a nice TP and a nice shackle connection here. Double shotgun comes out, and they'll make a 2-man kill. All right, Killer Queen. We'll take those 2. Infamous will get DC out of the base. I mean, Rhyme, DC didn't take a Rax or anything, or even the tier 3. Those are a couple of scrappy kills to take if you're Infamous. Did DC overstay their welcome just a little bit there?
I think going for the Doom was a bit much, but yeah, they had to kind of commit the Rubik and the Pudge to go for that. Obviously losing the Axe to go for that as well wasn't really ideal. So yeah, they kind of overstayed a little bit. They weren't really hitting the building. But Weaver, they are farming in this time, so overall I think this downtime, DC aren't like not farming, so it's not the worst thing ever. I think they might have missed an opportunity, but
Yeah.
they've got plenty of others in the future.
Looking for something here. Valkyria with the Shadow Blade, spotted out Wee. Gets the hit, gets the crush. The Shackle will also connect. Moon Meanders nearby, tries to help with force, but that is going to be Wee picked out, taken down. Out for a minute, does have a buyback here. Resolution doing his damnness to push out this top lane and force pressure back from Infamous, but Infamous know that the cards are already stacked against them, and they're going to need a push here in the mid lane. They're going to need some tier 2 action to kind of get themselves back in the saddle.
I'm pretty sure that's actually just Cristiano, by the way, not Katara.
Oh, it is. Okay, well, maybe they should update their names more often. Okay, so Cristiano.
Now, Killer Queen is just gonna walk around. He's looking for Shivas. He's gonna get it at some point. I think he's the one that's really gonna be on the farm on the side of Infamous. But It's just a... There's going to be a point. It may not be now, it may not be in the very near future, but when he's not going to be able to kill the Weaver or the Ember without very much aid from both the Sada and the Doom. Doom's kind of going for the Blade Mail now, so he's kind of realised he's disintegrated the Ember Spirit a bit too much in the last 10 to 15 minutes.
Alright. Is Ags not really just an ideal grab for Doom anymore? I mean, I know he was like in a support position, and Ags is pretty pricey, but the value of
It's
just
not
kind of
really worth, like...
not worth
I
anymore.
think the way people play Doom now is just you become as tanky as possible, and you walk in and you hit people with the Sword of Fire, and just be annoying, really.
It just sounds like why would you pick that over like how some teams were trying to do like the 4 position like Underlord? You know, it's just I guess having the Doom.
I think it's just having the Doom just for the solo kill and the kill potential on the Ember.
Fair enough.
Because they picked it versus the Ember, the Weaver was the last
Yeah,
pick,
that's
so...
true. That's true. In this case, maybe a possible niche pickup because of the Ember.
Under attack.
Whatever the case may be, it kind of helped him a bit. Definitely at the start of the game, some good Infernal Blade harassment. Found value now and some extra pick-off power, but now we're getting into the later part of the game. His value goes up.
DC still have to play very carefully now.
Yeah.
Like they've got the plate mail and Pudgy's going Lotus. When they get that, they feel a little bit safer, but Weaver still needs to go for a BKB, which he is going now. Sax is probably going to be going for the Yule Scepter at this point. Moon's farmed, kind of stagnated. He's sitting just barely ahead of the Doom. But all in all, if it was just they're going to wait down here. Misery's probably going to walk up that hill. He's got the gem, so Sada's going to have to make a little bit of a tactical retreat. But they may just be able to kill Wee before they can really respond.
Infamous are hanging around here. They're actually going to make the move for Wee, and he's gone. Oh, man, they do a lot of damage real quick. Remember, Wind Ranger with that Agnum Scepter does so much work. I mean, we should know of all people. This time on Secret during the first Nanyang, that was like the last time Wind Ranger was like really a thing. And now he's, you know, getting a nice little bit of deja vu.
Yeah, they are playing like lane or Ember Whack-A-Mole on the lanes for a bit, but it's just Weaver is accruing net worth more quickly than pretty much anyone on Infamous. So it's just a question of does making this Ember's like Radiant's timing just that little bit slower really make up for the fact that you're not farming on those 2 heroes in that time. And I think it does make up for it to an extent. But the Sada, he's going to have to make his way towards BKB so he doesn't get fried by the Ember at later points. And so the winner, like, they're all just kind of going, we need BKBs, guys.
Dancing around with Doom a bit. No Doom committed here, but they did pop out the Lincoln. That's the other thing that they're, you know, going to have to take note of as they continue to kind of bully the Ember Spirit and bring him down. You have Resolution to kind of deal with, and I don't know if they're kind of banking on the fact that they have the Doom to kind of control him a bit, but, you know, he has that Lincolns now.
Radiant's top tower is
And
under attack.
they're going to have to make sure they kind of have their ducks in a row as far as the initiation between the Wind Ranger and the Doom and who they want to prioritize locking down and making sure that they kind of get the Lincolns off. It's a lot in the execution here for Infamous.
Yeah, Infamous are really benefiting from the pickoffs though. They've got control over, well, both sides of their jungle. They're farming the enemy jungle as well to a certain extent. They're just generally profiting quite well from this. And
They usually take one
Dazzle
game,
and Doom.
really, to ruin things for DC here. DC will be able to get a nice catch there for the Doom, take him down. Moon leads off a nice leapfrog, jump in for Dazzle Call, pulls him back and takes off his head. Beautiful setup there from Moon Meander to kind of just take advantage of not just 1, but now 2 kills. And they're looking for more even. A deep cut down to this bottom lane as Killer Queen is pushing it out. DC were hoping to get more, but yeah, the point I was trying to make just before that is that Infamous really only need to be scrappy enough to take 1 game here if they're hoping to ruin things for DC. DC need both of these wins if they want to further secure the qualification spot to go to the LAN.
Dire's
Now here they
middle
go,
tower
advancing
is
into the
under
base,
attack.
doing their first work onto the tier 3, probably going to be taking it down. Ooh, need 1 more hit. Moon will get it.
Moon's just like, I've had enough.
Yep, Moon's like, I'll get it. Loses half of his life for it. Will not be able to get the hook catch there. DC may just pull off with that. It looks like they will.
Yep, so this is pretty nice from DC. Just posture up, take the tower, then force them back into defensive posture, but they're going to go immediately smoke up with 4 heroes. So if DC get caught here, then that means they have an avenue to actually maybe get their buildings threatened, but... Oh, they're going to go straight for Roche, actually. And they do kill it extremely quickly, so this is a good move.
We go right in. Resolution was first a bit afraid and scurried back, but the real target here from Infamous was moving in and battling it out with the big boy. And as mentioned, we'll get it with relative
Shine
ease.
has fallen to the dark.
Aegis now going to be put into the pocket of Cristiano.
Every coin helps.
And now we have to see what DC want to do as a response here. Now, are we going to be seeing DC stall things out? Do they feel comfortable enough? Because it seems like it's been Infamous taking the map or advantage of the map more so lately. Is it pressure on DC now to make a play happen, or do they have to stall things out with the Aegis?
Well, I think the way DC saw this part of the game going was Ember pushes out all the lanes of BTs, and then Weaver walks with the team, and then he kind of forces them back to the objectives, and acts as that timer for Infamous to kind of pull them back from looking for ganks. But they managed to get quite a lot on the Ember. He's died like 4 or 5 times to these pickoffs, so...
Okay, setup coming in from DC here. Another one for the Doom. Led in, the bugs, the right clicks. He's trying to reflect it back with the blade mail. Resolution's going to be forced to time lapse off all the return damage, but they got what they wanted, and that was the pickoff of the Doom. DC are hoping to get a follow-up kill as they did the previous engagement, but this time they will not get their catch. And frantically Infamous pull back and away. Try to apply some pressure here as we see Killer Queen moving down that mid lane, but DC are going for a cutoff. Infamous will hide indoors, bar up the windows, get the dog inside. DC are out front, Ryan.
Yep, they are, and they're making their way to the bot too.
Oh no.
Slaughter.
Slaughter made it in, got caught under the vision of that ward. DC were able to capitalize just like that. That's a tier 2 secured, and we'll get that finish.
Tower is under attack.
It just feels like Infamous are getting these kills on Ember like through smoke moves, through waiting for like a minute on bot lane with 2 heroes, you know, and then DC just kind of move towards the enemy and they catch 1-2 heroes like immediately because of just positioning. So it feels like there's this just disparity in terms of coordination that's going on here. But they do have Doom up now. He has, well, he's close to 4 stuff. He's got his blade mail up.
Oh, Misery, he's looking for the home run hook. He doesn't know it though. He's got Aether Lens of course, so I mean he could close a serious gap, but doesn't go for it.
Radiant's top tower
He'll
is
get
under
Shrines
attack.
instead. More money in the pocket of DC here. Not a huge
Weaver grows
overbearing net
larger.
worth lead for either team. This one's still pretty close, man.
I just think that the fact that it's just Ember in the late game, he's going blade mail. He's becoming, well, he's got his Radiance now. Overall, I think he's going to become a little bit overbearing unless they can get the Doom very quickly onto him.
Yeah, and the last
And given that there's no
couple,
blink, like, it's
yeah.
just...
Doom's not going to be able to get in there. I mean, I don't know. Last couple times he's been the victim. 3rd time now. He could be caught out. Wonderfully done there. Telekinesis right into the hook of Misery. Pulls him in. He's going to get the grave. He's considering a target here for the Doom. Misery will be the first focus to go down. That's going to be a gem on the deck. A strong advancement comes out here. Doesn't seem like they're going to get the best connection. It will be the Aegis going down. Moon eats the Doom and just runs away with it. As Infamous are trying to make chase and catch anyone out. Resolution creeping in from behind. Looks to go in for the Slardar. And using that stolen amp damage, they just shred him right apart. And it's going to be a 1-2 punch coming out for Resolution. Oh, little Cristiano now gets hit with that stolen crush. Man, Saxa with the plays on Rubik right now. That's going to be dangerous, actually. And a quick immediate triple kill comes out for Resolution. DC take their strong fight. And now we'll be able to do the more significant base damage that they've been able to do this game. Killer Queen, one of the remaining survivors here. Frantic trying to make it back inside, but not going to make it too far. There is the setup. And now they'll just lock him in place. The buyback will come out from Cristiano, but he's just going to be a lone defender. This is looking great for DC and a much-needed win.
Yep, overall, DC just, the Weaver is too big. He's just killing 2 heroes every fight. They can just start off the fight by blinking in into the enemy base and then hooking someone out. And it really feels the Infamous. It's really hard to hold because there's just so many ways that the fight can start and they won't be able to really follow up.
Alright, lead and shackle here. Cristiano. And he's going to be able to make it away with his life right now. The win run will be stolen. The chains come out from Wii. A committed dive in. Frantic gets off the Ghost Scepter. They turn it around and we'll be able to take out Wii. Infamous trying to get DC out of their house right now, and they may be able to take a couple of names for it. They take Saksa and Wee down. And with Moon on top of it here, that is a nice little purse for Infamous. Obviously still some significant damage inside the base, but at the end of the day, it's just a mid lane Rax. They'll still stay alive in this game, but
It does come at the cost of the Timber buyback, which is going to be slightly annoying for them. It feels like they're staying in the game off of the back of buybacks for the most part.
and he just does the cross-country run ahead of his team. Gets right inside, now in DC's home. And they're trying to go to a work.
If
getting the
Winrod
most-
gets here in time, then they could probably get damage on the tower, but
Yeah.
he's their
Obviously,
only real
looking to
building
force out
damage.
the Weehaw buyback here, as he's got about 30 seconds before he can actually come back. Same with Moon. This is their best chance to take advantage of the numbers.
Radiant structures are
This is,
fortified.
yeah, Winrod just picked up a DD, so they could lose a melee here.
They suck
maybe.
at hitting towers, though, man. Look
They
at that.
really
They're
are
really,
not
really,
effectual.
they're throwing like pillows at this tower. By now, maybe they got to half. Okay, finally the Windrunner's here. He's like, I do the real damage work.
Has fallen.
She's got a DD too. We couldn't ask for anything better for the rest of them.
Barracks are under
Thank
attack.
God. As they will at least get the one Rax down. How risky are they looking to hang around here? They're going to look for an escape. They'll be able to slide their ass out of there. Misery, though. So I'll get someone here. We'll see. Oh, Chains couldn't get the setup. Finds himself in a shackle. They look to go for the turnaround. Misery can't bail him out. Tries to get him with the hook. Moon, though. Counterplay. Jump in buyback from Wee. Can they get the play again? It looks like they will. Grave Dump goes down once and twice for Moon. DC do it again in this game. Buyback return fire comes out. Last remaining survivor of Infamous is going to be the Killer Queen, who will be killed. Triple kill from Moon. I don't know if that was the original game plan, but DC make it work yet again. As they buyback, wipe the floor of Infamous. The only person with a buyback here is going to be the Doom. That may have done it.
I have faith in Doom. Yeah, but yeah, they just basically didn't really have that much to fight with. They got 3-man, 4-man call by Axe, and the Axe showing off that 10-second BKB. With great effectiveness.
Dire's
Obviously,
middle
DC have a pretty good lineup for taking down Raxes. Oh, they fumble over each other a little bit there, trying to get the very supple and delicious-looking Doom, who is just the lone little birdie of Infamous. Dazzle will be back now, but the damage is done, man. This is the second set of Rax to be going down. Softens him up with a weave. There's the hook. There's the kill. That is the Doom going down. Come on, Dazzle, you can do it alone.
Radiant's top tower
DC
is
obviously going to be
under
feeling
attack.
very good. They need both of the
Dire's
wins
bottom
today
tower is under
to stay
attack.
alive at the top of the group
Radiant's
stage.
top
It looks
tower
like they will be able to
is
secure game number 1. But man, this game, not a crushing win. We've already seen DC in these qualifiers take down teams like Doo-Wop, who, you know, a lot may consider better than Infamous, some maybe not. They crushed them in two 15-minute games. Here it takes DC, you know, 45 minutes to be able to close things out against Infamous. We'll see if Infamous can do something in game number 2 to pull out an upset.
Infamous play the style where they just kind of, they go for ganks to the extent where like they sacrifice farm to a large extent really. And if you die to any of them, it extends the game, but I don't think it really, you're not really that likely to lose. See if you get picked off by this. Because sure, Emblem will die like 4 or 5 times, but
Yeah.
Weaver farmed that whole time, Axe farmed that whole time, supports both got decent levels, they were picking up bounty runes because they had map control. And this is Infamous, like, it looks like they're doing really, really well, but and they're getting these pickoffs, but they pay so much for every single one. And I don't think they really had the heroes or the real positioning to like play the fights later on. Like you saw like Slardar and Doom walking right next to each other for a long period of time. Dazzle and Doom getting caught out again and again as soon as DC moved out into the middle of the map. I just think Infamous, they paid too much and got too little out of what they wanted from their draft.
Fair enough. Well, I'm curious to see where Infamous take their direction for game number 2. I really like the resubmerges coming out of the Doom, and its play a bit in the early game, but yeah, as we saw in the late game, just unfortunately didn't work out for them, even though they kind of were able to dictate the momentum of the game a bit. DC and Misery are able to kind of stay composed and pull out like all of their chemistry and team coordination. When they make the call to make a buyback re-engagement, the whole team is there to rally behind them, and you could just see the evidence in those team fights too. So props to them. They get the first win. They need to get the second win, though, to kind of make it count and stay atop afloat at the top of the group stage. We'll cut to a break. When we come back, it's game number 2 of Digital Chaos versus Infamous here for the Star Series American Qualifier. I am Dakota Cox. You may know me as Cuddle Guy, and I'm joined again by Rhyme Dota. We'll see you soon for game number 2.